All right, you guys ready?
There's only one way to find out.
Okay. All right, so welcome back. So we're here today at Flanders Tuning. We've got some special guests with us. We have Dave and Mike Brown. So you guys, it was about actually a little over a year ago, Dave, you were in here and you were telling me that you were thinking about trying to run a whole season in Rally America.
Yep.
And you've done that now.
Yep.
And so what was the end result of that?
National champions overall. We won everything. We beat all the turbo guys, everyone.
Yeah.
So it worked out good.
So not only did you win the Open Lights Championship, which, you know, when we talked, when you were kind of laying this all out, that was your goal, was just to win the Open Lights Championship, but in doing so, you actually ended up winning the whole championship from Rally America as well.
Right.
Which is a pretty amazing accomplishment. Yeah. So wanted to kind of sit down with you guys and just kind of go through the season, and I know that there was a lot that went into it, a lot that was involved to actually just even make it to all the events and stuff.
Right.
Just kind of talk through the year and just kind of see how it all progressed and how it all came to be that you ended up being not only Open Lights champions but national champions for Rally America.
Yeah, we decided early on that we wanted to commit to the whole season.
Right.
And didn't realize quite what all that entailed, but it takes a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work to do it all. And then Rally America kind of sprung on us at the last minute that the regional events would also count as national points.
Okay.
So as early as December last year, we had to run Namaji, and we didn't even have a motor or a transmission in the car at that time.
Wow.
So we threw a bunch of stock parts back in the car just to make it there.
Yeah.
And so from earlier on, we were just dedicated to doing every event. So
that was one of the strategies, or one of the parts of the season, is you wanted to hit every event. That was one of the goals.
Right. Yeah, it was. We talked early on, and part of it was about experiencing rally. We're new to rally, and we just wanted to do them all. You know, most people have done one or two events in their life, and they just keep doing the same ones, and we wanted to try them all. So
yeah.
So we did.
Do you have, how many events was that? Do you have a rough tally? Was it 8 or 9?
9.
It was supposed to be 9, and then Wyoming got canceled.
8. Okay, so 8 events. So having now done that for a whole season, I mean, would you do it again? Like knowing how much is involved to go to 8 stage rallies in the season?
I would, but it's a full-time job, and so when you also have to work a full-time job, it meant lots of really late nights and hard work, and so I don't know that I would do it again unless I had a big enough sponsor where I could just do that, or had someone that would work on the car so the car was ready.
So you guys basically you took the car out to all the events yourselves. You did all of the prep of the car yourselves.
Yep.
And all of the driving, obviously.
Yep.
So man, that is a lot of work.
I calculated 17,500 miles of towing.
Of towing.
Just to and from the events. That doesn't count like what Dave drove the car around to get motor work or anything. That's just from Denver to
all the events.
17,500 miles.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, so I mean, the fact you're able to do just to hit all of the events and to make that kind of time commitment is amazing.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt that the car was quick.
Yeah.
So I mean, how much? Because if I remember, so the other truck we got here is the Rookie of the Year. So and part of that was because last year, so the 2017 season, you were the first Open Lights car to win an overall title in an event.
Rally Colorado.
Yeah. So as you're kind of teeing up this season, was part of the motivation the fact that you knew that the car was good, and you knew that you guys as a team were fast, and that's where you kind of made the decision, well, let's try and hit all of the events and see what happens? Or
I don't know, I think it helps. It helps that you're fast and you have a chance of winning.
Yeah.
But really this year was about experiencing it.
Okay.
And like you said, Open Lights winning was the goal, but really I was kind of hoping for a top 3 in Open Lights.
Sure.
And just wanted to experience all the events.
And you probably, I mean, how many events that you went to of those 8, was it the first time you had been to them? Was it because Rally Colorado was a repeat?
6 of them.
So 6 of them were brand new events that you guys have never been to before even.
Yeah.
That's That's just crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and so what did you learn as you went to all these different events? I mean, how different were they from one to the next? Were they pretty similar, or like was car setup significantly different? And
well, being new to rally, car setup for me, the car setup very basic, and I set it up the same way for every event.
Sure.
I just don't know any better to change it.
Starting point.
Yeah, and so the car, I think I just got lucky with the setup a little bit.
Okay.
That the basic setup's been pretty diverse, but the tracks are totally different. I mean,
Okay.
Snowdrift was a hockey rink with water on top. That was ridiculous. And then all the dirt events, the dirt is so different. You know, whether you've got sand or gravel or more of a clay base, you really have to learn to feel the road out pretty quick so you can be quick from the get-go in all the events.
So had two tulip rallies. Those were new for us. So there's Summer Snowdrift and Show Me Rally.
Where you didn't get full notes?
No, it's blind rally, no recce. You just get tulip notes. Basically, how you navigate from stage to stage on route. All we had is tulip notes, so he drove blind for 75%.
Wow.
Yeah. So the tulips are like graphics that say, like, in a mile there's going to be an intersection that you're going to go left at. So yeah, we really had not much notes, and it was just all what I could see, and just went for it.
Well, I mean, the good part of that is all the competitors were in the same boat, but you know, if you're used to having full stage notes and you go to having minimal information, that can be stressful.
Yeah.
And I mean, did you guys get lost at any point? Like have to turn around, or well, that could be a big factor too. Like if you get off track and that you lose minutes just turning around, realizing having to come back. So that's a huge challenge for you as the co-driver, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was tracking. It was different because normally when I have a full set of pace notes, you know, I'm in rhythm with the pace notes, but in tulips, I'm having to track mileage as well on the computer.
Right.
And you know, I'll be like, hey, like a mile, there's going to be something, and then I'm counting down, and then I have to do math in my head to be like, I just count down in 5, 4, 3, 2, so he knew kind of where to hit his braking points for the turn.
Right.
But a lot of the tulips are just graphics, so it's not calling like a left 3, it's just like, it's going to be a left
something.
Yeah.
And they weren't always consistent. You know, some would be really sharp and they actually work sharp, and then some looks like it's just a flat out corner, and so then you're hard braking. So it's
that's probably really stressful for both driver and co-driver.
Yeah.
Man. Well, and Mike, I mean, how much did you have to learn as a co-driver going through the season? I mean, did you have to really kind of like something like that? You have to really adapt in the co-driver seat so that Dave's got good information.
Yeah, I mean, the tulip, as far as the pace notes, I was comfortable going into it. The tulips, I really had no idea. I'd never done it before. So it really took 2 or 3 stages before I felt pretty comfortable calling them.
Yeah.
But even throughout every stage and both races, we kept working on them together, because some of the calls that I would make really didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
So I started omitting things.
Okay.
So we really had to learn as we drove in those stages.
How much do you think you guys, as a team, co-driver and driver, developed through the course of the season?
Oh, a ton this year.
Yeah.
Mike even took a class earlier in the year to learn some tricks, and in the beginning we were really just going with the published notes, and we weren't making a ton of changes because we just didn't know any better. But as we got more comfortable, he got comfortable making note changes on the fly during recce.
Right.
We were able to add a lot of details that really made a lot of difference.
Big difference.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's one of the odd things of rally, that you've got 2 people in the car, and one of those people is the co-driver, which is giving directions to the driver. And I think it's the only motorsport that I can think of where you've got 2 people in the car that are basically working towards the same goal of being fast from point A to point B.
Yeah.
But it's like as you went through the season, I mean, did it, like, obviously probably the strength of you guys as a team was a big factor in how you guys were able to adapt to the conditions, adapt to rallies where you've got full stage notes versus not. I mean, it sounds like it was truly a team effort that lets you kind of have the success and reliability that you did.
Well, the biggest thing, 2 things. One is confidence.
Yeah.
So when it's like a flat out turn over a jump and you can't see anything but trees on the other side, he tells me it's clear on the other side. So I just keep it floored and we go sailing over this thing, and then the road opens in front of you, and it's really a very cool feeling.
Wow.
And also, with the different races and the different turns, you're going faster and slower. The turns come at a different rate.
Yeah.
And so one thing Mike's gotten really good at is he can change the rate that he gives me the notes.
Sure.
So it keeps me on time and keeps me focused. And now I know I don't have to worry about any of that. So it's really a pretty cool feeling once you.
So you guys are
getting there.
A well ironed out team now at this point.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Now Mike, we were talking a little bit earlier. Have you guys ever thought about switching rules?
I've driven the race car before.
Yeah.
Some of the hill climbs, they have a mechanics race where
Yeah.
I was able to race and he would step in the co-driver's
Yep.
seat. When Cora was open, we could go out and practice out there, and
Sure.
I've driven it a bunch. But yeah, he's the better driver, I'm the better co-driver, so
Yeah.
we obviously work well in this configuration.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, and so you were saying, Dave, earlier that you pretty much set the car up pretty much the same for each event, and then just as you get there, you show up, you figure out the conditions. How much changes would you make to the car setup or to the driving, or basically just how would you adapt to each different race? Because it sounds like you're kind of starting at the same point.
Yeah, so it's really mostly just in the driving. We don't have really a place to practice, so the only practice we get is going to the races, and it's hard to want to be like, okay, we're going really fast, let's take a sway bar off and see what that does,
right.
and risk ruining the rest of the race. So I really did very little to the car,
Okay.
and like I said, I think we just got lucky. We got this good kind of neutral setup, and yeah, it's just all driving style from there.
Well, but that's probably pretty wise. So you knew what the car was. You knew what the car was going to do because you were just basically getting it back to the same condition each time.
Right.
And then you're just changing how you drove the car.
Right.
And it sounds like, Mike, you were maybe changing the notes a little bit, but you were just kind of working with the same basic ingredients with the car and just adapting to the conditions.
Yeah, and earlier in the year we did some stuff. I had the transmission rebuilt with some new gears, and we put the all-drive Subaru limited slip center differential, which drastically changed the handling of the car.
Sure.
But it all worked out really good and really helped a lot. And we won snowdrift overall, even with the icy conditions, and so that was pretty exciting for us. Stressful, but exciting.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's snowing here today, and if it gets really slick, I mean, you just drive home, and that can be stressful, with other cars, and if you're trying to race at speed,
oh yeah,
I can only imagine how white knuckle that could be.
Yeah.
Probably for me, it would be probably more so in the co-driver's seat than in the driver's seat.
The co-driver was weird because usually we get into a flow
Yeah.
in a stage, but there really wasn't any flow, and normally turns that would come up really fast at speed came up really slow because we were just going so slow on the ice. But I still had to call turns really far in advance like we were going fast because our braking distance was so long.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if we're coming in pretty hot to like a right four, it will take us like football fields to slow down because there's just zero traction.
Right.
So it's adjusting that tempo to the conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What tire did you guys run? Snow tires or rally tires? Or?
Yeah, we ran just a street snow tire, the Hakkapeliitta R2s, which is a studless snow tire.
Yeah, that I'm sure it was probably fun in retrospect, but probably not so much at the time.
It was a neat experience, but I couldn't say it was fun.
Okay.
Like when we got to the end, even though we'd won and we wanted to jump up and down, we were kind of just like, we made it. Like, and just every second, every move you made in the car made a big difference. And yeah, we were on just the edge every second, even though we were going 20 miles an hour.
Well, but with no traction, 20 miles an hour is still moving pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We actually passed a car in a particularly slippery section. We were side by side going through this twisty section in slow motion, like,
oh, man.
don't hit him, and it took us forever to get by him, but it was pretty cool.
Man, it's probably something that you both have a little chat about at the end. Like, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, and so it sounds like finding a good setup for the car maybe is one of the keys of what kind of let you have as good of a season as you did.
Yeah, and the consistency. We had one DNF, and we had at Rally Colorado, the motor had issues.
Yeah.
Ended up being computer issues, but anyways, we lost a lot of time.
Sure.
And so we lost a lot of points in 2 races.
Mm.
But really the key was you have to be consistent and consistently quick the whole season, so you're constantly just adding those points. And That's what really made the difference.
Well, this year with Rally America, they weren't throwing any points out. Is that right? So right. Basically, since they weren't tossing out like your worst finish or something like that, just hitting all the events was probably like the first, best strategy for running the season.
Oh yeah. And even Rally Colorado, where we lost all that time, we still got the finishing points because we finished every mile, didn't super rally, so we still got like 12 points there.
Yeah.
Consistency is key.
And going in and knowing that, I mean, that is a huge commitment because you get halfway through the season, and if you just kind of wear out a little bit or you have some issues that gets frustrating, that's where you have to kind of push through it.
Yeah, there's it's another story, but all the motor issues that we had throughout the season, and there were the first 5 or 6 races, we were a week out from the race with a non-functioning car, and lots of late nights, and really just that commitment to make it happen, and it was challenging. There were times I wish I could just quit, but I was committed, so
we did it. You didn't, and man, the result is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, so Mike, when Dave told you that he wanted to run a whole season, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
I was all in.
You were all in?
Yeah, I was all in.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be fun. I guess I didn't think hard enough at the time. Knowing all what it was going to be. All the 24-hour straight tows and sleeping in the back of the truck. But I was all in. That's
awesome. Man, it's such an amazing accomplishment. I mean, heck, even if you guys would just hit all 8 events, because rally, there's so much attrition each event.
Oh yeah.
It's not. That's maybe one of the other things that people that aren't as familiar with rally just don't have a concept of is you're using that car, at its maximum capacity the whole time, and sometimes well beyond it, and damage is just kind of the norm.
Right.
And so it's not the kind of event typically where you can run an event, put the car in a trailer, bring it home, put it in the garage, and just wait until the next event to pull it out again.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you've got to go through the whole thing, probably almost every nut and bolt on that car for each event to fix the stuff that is damaged or needs attention. And it's amazing you guys were able to keep the car running, get through all that adversity, hit all the events, and on top of that, do well. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. What you guys have accomplished. So.
Yeah, we couldn't have asked for more. I mean, no one's ever done it before. It's a dream finish.
Yeah.
A lot of people race their whole career trying to do it and can't. So for our first full season, it's almost unbelievable. It still is slowly sinking in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it is an amazing accomplishment, and especially in an open lights car, too. So for people that aren't exactly familiar with open lights, we should probably mention too what is that class? What are the rules for that class?
The rules are essentially unlimited, except the big things is it has to be 2.5 liters or less naturally aspirated. So no turbos.
Right.
You're much less horsepower than the open class and even the super production cars.
Right. And so that was the goal, is to win that class, and it's also a pretty big class. It seems like that's probably, for the majority of events, that's probably where there's the most cars or the most competitors.
Yeah, it's really the biggest class in the nation, and between us and some of the 2-wheel drive classes, we always had one of the top numbers of entrants. So.
Yeah. So just going into that big of a field, like the fact that you won that championship is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But to know that your consistency and the fact that you had figured out this setup to be able to actually run with the guys that have, 100, 150 horsepower over you and still compete with them. Right. We'll still compete with them and in a lot of cases beat them is really impressive.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest things, especially toward the end of the season. We started running and actually getting placed up amongst those, WRC level cars.
Right.
And getting to run with those guys and meet them and see their cars is pretty impressive.
Just to see them as you're passing them, right?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Well, and at what point in the season, I know that the goal was just to run open lights and maybe try and do well in the open lights class, but where did you start thinking, well, maybe the overall championship would be possible?
Well, we were in the points lead most of the year, but it really wasn't until the last like 2 races where it's like, man, if we don't win it, we'll at least be a really close second, which would be cool bragging rights. And yeah, I thought for sure we'd get past it. I thought it was a matter of time that these other guys were winning overall events, that they were just going to come cruising past us.
Right.
But we podiumed every single event that we didn't have a motor issue, even one that we did have a motor issue.
Right.
And so we kept consistently being way up top, and once it got toward the last couple races, it was like...
It's like after Show Me, when we were second overall, after Show Me was when we really were like, this is actually a possibility, and that's when we started looking at the points, and Dave had a spreadsheet with all the points, and he was figuring out, like, if this happens, and this person finishes here, and we finish here, and so we kind of had it, we just kept following it along, and it ended up working.
There's a very narrow window we had to hit, but it actually worked out good, and we actually won by a significant amount of points at the end. So.
Well, that's awesome, and it is probably one of those things, probably about at the halfway point or beyond, where you're starting to hit some of these other obstacles, to know that you're getting that close and that it is a real possibility in both cases. Winning the Open Lights Championship and the overall, that was maybe a helpful motivating factor to kind of keep putting in those late hours at night to keep the car going.
Yeah, it's weird because one race, if you DNF and someone else wins, your closest competitor, it's a 30-point gap. Wow. So even if you have a big points lead, 20-plus points, it only takes one race, and it's all gone. So that's why it wasn't until the last couple races that it's like,
this might actually happen.
If everything works.
As you said, rallying the attrition, and I mean, anything can happen to the competitors, to us. So even if you have a big points lead, it just takes one little thing to go bad on your car, and you lose your 30 points.
And it really, at rally, anything can happen, and it usually does. I mean,
it did.
And it did. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Well, I mean, it's a huge accomplishment, and definitely it's somewhat recent, but I'm sure it's starting to sink in. But it should, give it time, because it will. I mean, you're in some pretty high company now. With Rally America National Championships. So it's an amazing accomplishment, guys, and thanks very much for taking the time to sit down here and talk with us about it.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Can't wait for what next season is going to bring.
We'll see. We will see.
All right, well, thanks, guys, and Dave, you got your own YouTube channel too. So if people want to see, follow you guys and see what you're up to, what is that channel?
Yeah, so if you just Google Racer Dave, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And we do event videos for every single event, and we try and tell the story, so you can follow along there.
Cool. Well, guys, thanks so much for coming out. Thanks for the time, and thanks for watching.